Evening. My name is Phyllis Lingard. I am a certified aromatherapist, one who studies various herbs and oils and their impact upon different things that we encounter in our lives. I'm also a creator of all natural products for men and for women. And currently, I am enrolled seeking my bachelor's degree in naturopathic health and wellness. I really believe in naturopathic approaches to wellness. If you desire to contact me, please look at the contact information at the bottom of your screen. Or you can go to my website, which is estersnextlevel.com. ESTHERSNXT as in Thomas, level.com. In addition, I'd ask that you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Esther's Natural Living, or join me on my Facebook group, which is Physician Heal Thyself. I really would appreciate the subscriptions. I'm really trying to build up my YouTube channel so that I can begin to teach there, also do some different things so far as essential oils are concerned. I really love working with essential oils, so I want to be able to do more through the YouTube channel. So please subscribe to that YouTube channel, which is Esther's Natural Living. Okay, tonight, I want to talk about respiratory health. Why respiratory health? Because we have a lot of things that are going on right now in the earth. There are a lot of things that have been going on, and there is not a lot of talk about our respiratory system. And our respiratory system uses our lungs. And when our lungs are not filtering or working appropriately, we're set up for a variety of issues that occur. One of the things that happens is because of the poor air quality, we have a lot of issues that our children are suffering from, and even we are suffering from it. So breathing is one of the most important ways that the body eliminates waste products from itself. Only 3% of the body's total waste products are eliminated through feces. Only 3%. 7% through your urine, and 20% through the skin. The remaining 70% of body waste products are eliminated through exhalation via the lungs, meaning taking and you're eliminating waste when you do that. The respiratory system is one of the single most important systems in our bodies. We don't talk about it too much, but we need to, especially with the advent of this COVID virus and this secondary one that is impacting our respiratory system. We could live for days without food or water, yet we can only live minutes if we can't breathe. So we really need to pay attention to our respiratory system. The majority of our energy is released through the cells in our body, which is obtained through chemical reactions that can only take place in the presence of oxygen. So oxygen is vitally important. We breathe in through our nose and we exhale. The respiratory system's main function is to supply the body with oxygen that it needs, as well as to expel carbon dioxide out of the body. So plants take carbon dioxide and they release oxygen into the environment for us to breathe in. It's been estimated that the respiratory system disorders are one of the most common complaints for which individuals visit the doctors. I remember when I had a child care program that I had so many children going to the doctor and coming back with respiratory diagnoses, asthma, allergies, those type of things. Why? Because the air is contaminated with a plethora of chemicals and poisons. Car pollution, dust, viruses, various bacteria, pollen, all of those things can have an adverse effect on the health of your respiratory system. So it's really, really important that we deal with that part of our lives. I remember some years ago, I all of a sudden started having problems with breathing. and I couldn't figure out what it was. Of course, I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Oh, I think you have allergies, so I'm gonna give you this medication." And I found that I was taking these pills like basically all year. I didn't seem to have a break in taking these medications. So all they do is just give you the medication to take, but it didn't explain what was going on. And later on, it was, well, I think you have asthma. And I went to one doctor, and they asked, "Oh, do you smoke?" And I'm like, "No, I quit smoking over 15 years ago." And then here it comes, "Oh, well, I think it's COPD that you have." So they use these terms, and we basically hear these terms in a negative situation. So then they said that you have to go get a test. We're going to do a sleep apnea test, because if you snore, you probably have sleep apnea. So I went through all of this process. I didn't know any better at that time. I'm listening to the doctor. Nothing wrong with doctors, but later on I learned to also look at things for myself. So I went through all these tests, and I remember doing this sleep apnea test. Oh my God, at the hotel. The most uncomfortable thing in the world. You have this big, bulky, heavy mask on. You got these tubes all over the place, and they want you laying on your back and sleeping at night. How the heck are you going to sleep at night with all that contraption on your face? Plus, in addition, I was not used to sleeping on my back. I usually slept on my side. So I had to do this whole night, them coming in during the night and doing all these checking this and checking that. So when the morning time came, the technician came in, and had this big old ugly mask, and he says, "You can take this home with you." I looked at him, and I looked at that mask, and I'm like, "Yeah, if I take that home, that ain't happening." I left that thing right on the table in the room. Now, with saying all that, I started to learn about my immune system. I got involved with the immune system and how to build a healthy immune system. And I found that when I began to work with this company that specializes in immune system, that once I began taking natural supplements, I found that I didn't need to take any allergy medications. I didn't need to do any of those things. Later on, when I went back to this doctor who swore I had asthma, I went in, and when he did the test, he came back in and he said, we didn't have to give you a breathing treatment. Well, I found out through going with physical therapy, because I had a run-in with mold, really bad run-in with mold. And through that course of doing that, I learned that there was something else that was impacting my breathing. Guess what it was? My posture. The occupational therapist said, "I noticed that your shoulders are round, and your posture is slumped over." And so I started working on that. And I realized that when I straightened up my posture, my breathing was 100% better. So when I went to this doctor, there was no need for me to get any type of breathing treatments, because I breathe fine. I haven't seen him in over 3 years, because I wasn't going back, because I knew what part of the issue was. One, my immune system, and two, it was my posture. The third thing was I needed to work on building up my lungs and making sure that my immune system was doing what it needed to be done, and taking care of my lungs. So I started learning. They give you those machines in the hospital. You put it to your nose, and you hold this ball up in the air, and then you let it go. So those are lung exercises. So I started doing that. I started doing some lung exercises, and I started building up my immune system, and I started noticing things were changing for the better. I started getting involved more with essential oils, because they are naturally attracted to the respiratory system. And it's over 200 essential oils, and there are many of those essential oils that are perfect for interaction with the immune system. I'm going to list some of those, and then you can look those up yourself and see what I'm speaking about. And before I get into that, I do want to make a disclaimer that this is informational only. The information that I'm giving is not intended to treat, diagnose, or heal any disease or illness. It's information only. You can follow up by going Google it. That's what I can tell you. So the things that impact our respiratory system, we have seasonal allergies, we're exposure to cold and wind, excessive deficit in exercises. If you don't exercise, your breathing and your lungs are impacted. Poor posture, I spoke about that. Grief and sadness, the lungs, are they're located next to the heart, so they're impacted when our emotional well-being is impacted. Incorrect diet can impact that. Your digestive system can do that. Incorrect breathing practices. I found that I was breathing wrong. All my life, I was breathing a certain way. I thought that was cool. No, it was wrong. So your breathing practices and low quality or toxic air. And we know that when you're in an inner city, that the air is very toxic because there are a lot of things that are released in the air. On top of the things that are released in the air, I believe we have the impact of the jets and all that stuff going up in the air, and they're releasing toxins into the air. Every time they take off, that fuel is not pure fuel. That is released in the air, and it travels. So it contributes to the poor quality air that we have. So some common ailments of the respiratory system, as I said, that I had children who would have problems. Bronchitis, then there's acute bronchitis, there's a chronic bronchitis, colds, flus. All of these things are effects that impact our respiratory system. Chest discomfort with the cough, and you have these coughing episodes, and then you have this mucus that builds up inside, and you're not really expectorating all of that stuff out. You get some medicine that is supposed to help get that secretion out, but it doesn't clear you out because in the process, you're building up with inflammation in your system. And now we're starting to see where a lot of people are being impacted by inflammation. So when we talk about essential oils, the goal is to reduce inflammation and to enhance the respiratory system and eliminate any kind of excess mucus, and to support a healthy respiratory system, and encouraging relaxation, because when we have these issues going on with our lungs and in our respiratory system, our system is tight. Our body is so uniquely made that it's made that it can heal itself. It really can heal itself if it's given the proper nutrients. And that's the thing that I desire to bring out, because it's not really brought out when we go into many doctors' offices. There's some doctors who understand certain things that of natural capabilities, but there are too many that don't, because they learn to just, this is the system, this is the prescription for it, and they give you the prescription. Never mind the side effects, never mind the fact that they might be worse than what you have, but that's what they're taught. So that, and nothing against them. So I'm going to give you a couple of oils. I think that some of them you probably heard of. You probably heard of eucalyptus. A lot of people use or have heard of eucalyptus. That is a very good oil. The thing that I'm saying, that when you buy oils, just don't buy any kind of oil. Just don't go into the drugstore and snatch up a bottle of eucalyptus or Walmart or any places like that. If you're going to get an oil that's going to be effective, get an oil from a place that gets oils that are good for you. The other oil is cypress oil. That's another good one for your respiratory system. Fennel, frankincense, ginger, rosemary, peppermint, lemon, tea tree. All of those are good oils to use when you're trying to impact your respiratory system. What I learned was I learned how to blend off certain combinations. Once I found out, first I had to find out if I was allergic to anything, because you always want to make sure that you don't have an allergy to a specific thing. So I encourage people to really seek out professionals such as myself, who can take the information from you, can find out, if you have any type of allergens or anything like that, and then create something for you that is not going to cause, hopefully, any type of allergic reaction. So what I did was, in addition to boosting up the immune system, and I'm a big proponent on us focusing in on boosting up our immune system. I will be coming out shortly with a black seed honey, which does a lot of things for the immune system and every other kind of system. I was going to do elderberry, but then upon researching, I found that the black seed honey was phenomenal. So I'll be making some of that. I'll be creating some of that in a few weeks. For myself, I took these oils, some of these oils, and I blended them together in the right manner. And what I did was diffusing. What is diffusing is when you add the oils together in a bottle and you shake it, and you have a diffuser, such as this is my I should have had this out of here before I came up, because I didn't want to I don't want to what I just did, spill water. I thought there was water left in it. That's okay. This is the diffuser that I have. And this diffuser covers my living room. It has settings in here that I can go from 3 to 6 hours, or just turn it on and it'll go off on its own. So I put my solutions in there. The size of your diffuser gives you the indication of how much oil to put in it. So this diffuser here, I put more oil in because it's a much larger diffuser. So I diffuse. I put water in the diffuser, and I put the oil mixtures that I've created in that, and I let it go through it. Sometimes I have a smaller one in my bedroom that I'll put it in my bedroom. If I feel myself congesting up, I'll put that in, and sometimes I'll put it on when I go to bed at night, and then it clears me up by the next morning. So by the next morning, all of that congestion is gone. So I use that, a lot. I also had the sinus situation going on with the air. So what I do with that is, instead of taking, I was taking these nasty drops, and I'm not doing the neti. That people, do the neti pot. Nope, I can't see. I'm a person that's visual. If I see something that looks crazy, I'm not going to try it. And so I saw the neti pot, and I saw people pouring. No, I that's just not for me. So what I do is I just use saline solution. I squirt it in my nose and keep my sinuses clear. So I do that either at night or during the daytime. Sometimes I will just put the diffuser on in my living room and let it diffuse throughout the day. I'll set it for like 3 hours and let it just diffuse, so that as I'm walking around, as I'm working, and as I'm doing what I'm doing, then that I'm breathing in those things that are clearing up my lungs, clearing up my sinuses. So I do that. I don't take any pills. I don't need to take any pills. I can tell when the air quality is bad when I go outside and I start to get a headache. I know that's a sinus headache. So the other thing that I'll do is, with the diffusing stuff that I make, I may take some and drop it into my hand, and what we call that is cupping, or direct inhalation. And I'll put it into my palm and just breathe in and out, and I'm getting it directly into my system through my nasal passages. So those are just a couple of ways that you can use those oils to help support your respiratory system. So the oils that I mentioned, as I said, if you're getting oils, do your due diligence. Just don't get them because they don't cost that much in Walmart or Walgreens or CVS. Those are not really good oils. If you're going to go ahead and get some oils from somewhere, you can go to Vitamin Store. You can go to GNC. You can go to, there is a store in New Haven, something Woods. But you can do those things. Even on Amazon, you must be really careful about selecting oils, and don't do the selection like I used to do. It can get to me quick. No, you have to investigate. You got to know what family the oil is coming from, where it was made. Those are a lot of the things that need to be done when you're getting oils. You have to know where it's originated from, how is it compressed into an oil, and all these other things that I'm not going to go through all of those things. But those oils have been shown to really combat inflammation and also stimulate your respiratory system, especially if you have a common cold, which is an upper respiratory infection that's caused by any one of 100 possible viruses that are running around. We're always breathing in viruses. This pandemic was not, it's new in the fact that it's a different and a more deadly virus. I think experimental patient was taking place, but that's just my own. I won't get it in that one. But we breathe in viruses all day long. And so now I believe that it's time for us to begin to look at ourselves, know our bodies, know when things are out of joint, and take the appropriate actions to alleviate and possibly eliminate some of these things that have been plaguing us. There are things that we can do from nature, things that God left in this earth realm that were working before the pharmaceutical industry decided that we can't make money off of natural. We got to make some money, so we got to go ahead and we make these things, and it's a cycle event because you're really not getting out of the situation. You're becoming dependent upon it. So I won't get into that. But we want to be able to utilize these things, like for the common cold, which is another respiratory situation. Some of the essential oils that can help with that is like Roman chamomile, cypress, again, eucalyptus, fennel, frankincense. They're basically the same kind of oils, ginger, lavender. People think lavender, oh, I love the way lavender smells, but lavender has a lot of uses. Lemon, peppermint, rosemary, camphor or cinnamon, and again tea tree oil. Lavender is an interesting oil because in the class we learned that the father of aromatherapy, I think, got severely burned, and he was doing lavender at that particular time. But in any event, he ended up with severe burns and had an infection, and it immersed his hand into that lavender, and it turned around, it healed him. And so when I burned my hand, you know, sometimes you're cooking and in the oven, which I very rarely use, but I hit my hand up top and it burned and it started stinging. That class came back to me, and I actually took the lavender and put it straight on my hand. And today you really can't see any kind of scars on my hand at all from where I burned it. My grandson works as an HVAC, and he had a blowtorch that he was working with, and the blowtorch, something kicked back on it, and right here, thank God it didn't get into his hair, but he had a huge, I'll say a quarter to $50 size burn in his forehead. And he had went to the emergency room, and he called me. He was telling me about this burn stuff. So I said, well, you can try lavender. I put it on my hand, and it really did what it needed to do. And he did it. He said, oh, Nana, they call me Nana. It stings. I'm like, oh, it's going to sting. So he kept doing it, and it healed. So that's it. Sinusitis, one of the things that hits me is refers to the inflammation in the sinuses, and that happens, and that occurs because viral bacteria or fungal infections enter into your nasal passages, and that's why when people have sinus infections or sinus headaches, that's that infection, all that stuff in there, and you need to clean that stuff out. People use, like I said, I don't use a neti pot. I will diffuse and use saline and clear it out. And if it gets too bad, then I may take a Tylenol. But most of the time, when I sit still and I breathe in the oils that I set up, I then am feeling a whole lot better. So that's what I wanted to bring to you tonight, some of the oils that can aid in respiratory health, things that you can do. Research it. Research the oils. Research things that you can use to strengthen your lungs. With this B5, B4 variant, I believe, number one, and I've always believed it, that we have to strengthen our immune system, number one. When the immune system is strengthened, the body can do like God created it to do. also at the same time that we can look at certain things that we can begin to take that can help us during this season. This viral, I've heard a lot of people with COVID in this season talking about it felt like a cold, it felt like this, and so that's the attack on the respiratory system. And we know that if the respiratory system is severely depressed, then it goes to tubes and all those other things, and you don't need to go through all of that thing. Do what you can do to protect your respiratory system. Do the things you need to do. If you want information, if you want help, if you want support, you can contact me. I will be glad to help you. I have a free 15-minute consultation that I do. You just have to fill out the contact form on my website, and then we will make an appointment to meet from that, and I will go over, well, you'll see my costs and everything. It's not expensive, because what I'm doing and the time I'm taking and what I'm creating is important. So you can do that, but let's start to build up our respiratory system. Start learning how to do different exercises in addition to expand our chest area, so that we're forcing air in and air coming out, so that we can have healthier lungs, because we don't know what's coming down the pike. The only other thing that I do is I take I bought old school, the brown Listerine, the strong stuff. I brought that, and at times I will gargle my throat with the original Listerine, and I found for myself that it clears out my throat, my system. Don't swallow it. It's strong. It is really, really strong. But it's been helpful to me. So I'm just saying for myself, these are some of the things that I do besides diffusing, doing the exercises to open my lungs up, trying to build my immune system up. I really still believe that we have to do that. Summer is going to be over soon, and we need to start looking at building up our system for this winter time. Who knows what's going to come out the box when fall hits, but let's be prepared by taking care of our lungs. We want to take care of our respiratory system. It is vital to our lives. So let's begin to do that. Again, my name is Phyllis Lingard. You can contact me at healthyself56@gmail.com. healthyself56@gmail.com, or you can join my Facebook group, which is Physician Heal Thyself. You can put in a request to join. There I want to share information. I want people to share information so that we can live healthier lives. And in addition, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Esther's Natural Living. My YouTube station, I want to build that up. I'm going to start doing some, I call it cooking examples on YouTube for your edification. So please support me. Okay, that's all I have to say. I hope that I said something, did something that impacted you, that caused you to think about something, and caused you to want to take care of the temple that you have. Good night. Have a blessed evening. Bye-bye.